Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the King Ugly Crew podcast. I'm Jason, joined by my siblings, Skyla, Lonnon. Oh, I meant to do it in age order, and I messed it up. Skyla, Dane, Lonnon, Griffith, Baron, and Case.
I'm thoroughly impressed, actually.
What, did I remember the order?
I mean, you didn't, though, so I guess I could not be impressed.
He self-corrected.
I did self-correct.
It's been, what, 2 years?
Yeah, good point.
2 years. I ought to have it all down, like all of your middle names, although that one's kind of cheating.
But they're all the same, yeah, so that's really easy.
Skyla's not the same.
Mine's different.
Wow.
So is Tashi and Serie.
Exactly, because they're special.
Girls.
Yes, we are. Yeah, we have 4 names now.
Hey, speaking of names, what are we talking about tonight?
What a segue. Tonight we're going to be talking about how our names came to be, and even more so because mine's super boring. So I get to talk about how my kids' names came to be, because I have no idea where my name came from other than possibly the calendar. And we're going to let all those 15 people out there look at the calendar. Look at a calendar and look at the months July, August, September, October, November.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's hilarious.
Wow.
What's funny is I have always, if somebody's asked my name and I didn't want to tell them what it is, I've always told them it was Jason.
Irony of ironies.
Why are you not telling people your name?
Because there's some people that don't want to know my name.
Well, the scary part is that you'll tell them that, and now they'll be like, yeah, I know him. He's up in St. George, isn't he?
Thanks.
He looks just like me.
So now can I send all my bill collectors to you and say my name is Dane Jensen?
Nope.
Don't do that.
I don't say my name's Jason Clark.
He already got arrested for that.
Gotcha.
Or got in trouble for that.
Somebody. No, it wasn't bill collectors. It was, I got arrested for, while I was in Italy, somebody had gotten a jet ski ticket down here. I don't know who it was, but they gave him my name. And with jet ski tickets, you don't have to have any proof of ID.
And so he got hauled into jail because he was a missing fine, right? Or warrant out for it?
Because there was a warrant for my arrest that was from 1998, and that happened in 2016.
Sounds fun.
One of the worst days of my life. Jail smells like Parmesan cheese. In other words, like feet.
But that wasn't Italian jail, because that would have been really appropriate.
Oh, you're right. That would have.
Would have been funny.
With a sprinkling of Romano and maybe a little bit of pesto.
Oregano. Come on. Just oregano.
Oregano.
And just to make it gross, fresh mozzarella.
Ew. Gross.
Fresh mozzarella stinks.
All right, enough with this grossness.
Yeah,
let's get into this thing.
Alrighty, so my name, I have no idea where it came from. I joke about it. I do know prior to my adoptive parents giving me the name Jason, a foster set of parents had given me the name Joshua. So I've always been a J name of some kind. But so I do know at least a little bit about the history in that. I know that my father wanted me to have the same initials as my grandfather, and my grandfather's name was James William Clark, and so he named me Jason William Clark, so I would have the same initials. My grandfather's birthday was one day before mine. He was born on March 16th, 1904. Yes, 1904.
Daggum.
Yeah.
Wow.
I had a grandmother who was born in 1896, and a grandfather, my mom's father, if I remember right, was born in 1890. So
that's so cool.
That's absolutely nuts.
Grandpa Jensen was born in 1912.
34. Oh, Grandpa Jensen. Sorry.
Yep.
I was thinking of Grandpa
Crusade. Yeah, but Grandpa Jensen was 1912.
Again, it's so funny to me that my biological grandparents are only a couple years older than my adoptive parents, but we've talked about that before. So anyway, that's where most of my name comes from, is from wanting it to sound and be like my grandfather, who I loved dearly and passed away when I was 5, and he and I were very close, so it worked out well overall. So that's how my name came to be. Skyla, my darling sister, tell us your story.
Well, our parents are weird, as we've probably established more than once.
What?
And
no.
I have normal parents. I don't want to talk about.
Yeah, well, mine were weird. And Dad wanted to name me Sky Blue. And
the Peter Gabriel song, right? Is why that came from?
Actually, no, that Sky Blue came out in the 90s, so no.
I honestly, if I had a girl, I wanted to name it Sky Blue. So That'd been funny. I didn't even know that, Skyla, at all.
Yeah, sky blue. And Mom was like, we both have brown hair and brown eyes. Although I think they both actually have brown hair and hazel eyes. But Mom said something to the effect that she's not going to have blue eyes, which is funny because Griffith does. But she said no,
Milkman's
sky
kid,
blue.
though, so that's part of the reason this Milkman had blue eyes.
Right? And so Mom said no. She nixed the whole sky blue thing and said, how about Skyla? And so I am Skyla. I think most of our names are probably Mom and Dad compromises. Almost all of them, I think.
Oh, yeah. Mine definitely is.
Mine, I don't believe is.
Really?
Yep. I mean, according to Dad. So I'll get into it when we get to me, but I'm pretty sure mine was not a compromise.
And I think you're up.
I have zero idea where my name came from.
You've
Other
never
than
asked?
Never
Jensen with S-E-N is Danish, so I'm Danish Dane, and I'm Great Dane, and it's just I always say my name is probably the most normal name out of my brothers and sisters that
That's what I say
I
too.
grew up with. So
Until Jason
Because
came along. Thanks,
well, and
Jason.
that's why I said brothers that I grew up, brothers and sisters I grew up with. So, but like Ainsley, I'm gonna tell real quick on that one. Sheree and I had no idea what to name her when we found out we were having her, and every name she'd come up with, I hated. Every name I came up with, she hated. So it was like, we were, I think it was probably a week or two before she was born, and she came and picked me up at Best Buy, and TGI Fridays was right across the street. And lo and behold, guess what our waitress's name was?
Ainsley?
Ainsley, not spelled the way we
I was
spell
going to
it.
say, was it spelled the same way?
No, it's totally different in the spelling, but yep, Ainsley says hers is spelled the way it sounds. But so yeah, we wanted it to be a little bit different and have a little bit different of a name, but that's how her name came to be.
I honestly didn't know that story. That's awesome.
I didn't know that one either. A note on Dane's name. His whole life I have teased him that he was named after the dog because we had a Great Dane when he was born.
Yeah, but wasn't that dog's name? I can't remember
Bambi.
now. Wait, was it?
Bambi.
Oh, I thought we had one. Oh no, I think Troy was I can't remember what Troy was, but yeah.
Troy was a German Shepherd that
I'm
Dad had.
pretty sure we broke Bambi's back.
Yes, that's what I've always heard.
That's what I've heard too, but I have not asked as a grown-up, so I don't know.
You guys are a cruel bunch.
He was a Great Dane.
We'd ride him.
And so we rode him.
I figured you guys, that's how you broke his back, but I mean, yeah, not nice. Not nice. I know you guys were kids.
I don't know if it's real or not.
I gotta ask Mom or Dad because I want to know now.
All right, so I guess it goes on to me. I've never asked Mom where my name came from, so maybe it was a collaboration between Mom and Dad. But I have asked Dad, and he said that he didn't want a junior, but he wanted a kid with a name close to his. And then he took the last part of Aunt Kennan's name, and that's how he got Lonnon.
Holy
I
cow.
heard it was from Uncle Pete's daughter Shannon.
Yeah, I don't know. Could be Shannon. Could be like Dad said it was Kennan to me.
Because Kennan is spelled
E-N.
Aennan.
Right.
Oh, A-N, right.
But it was the sound, not so much the spelling.
Also, as Power can attest, Dad is not great at spelling.
All right, Power.
Power.
Yeah.
Just because
Can't
Power
defend
can't.
himself. If
Yeah.
Power was here and could defend himself, but he can't. Power.
Because he couldn't be bothered to stay up, even though Skyla's on the East Coast and it's late her time. No excuse, Power.
In the
No
in the
excuse.
text, he said, after basketball season, maybe he'll actually get on. So we'll see.
Awesome.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
And to be fair, he has to commute, and I do not.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a valid point.
That's very true. Very
I
true.
love you, Power, and I know how long your commute is because I lived where you live and I know where you work. I know where you live and I know where you work.
Stalker.
Okay, creepy.
Yeah,
Scary.
that's pretty creepy. Yeah.
I'm good at that. All right, Griffey.
I know that my name came from the Griffiths in our family, but that Mom misspelt it.
Actually, she didn't.
Because there is Griffiths in our family that is also ITH. But Mom also has said that she didn't know that it was supposed to be spelled with an ETH, that I was supposed to be Griffith and not Griffith. But there's both.
There is both, and actually, it's they changed it from to Griffith. So like you can follow the whole tree, and it starts ITH, and then the last couple generations before Griff, it's ETH.
And let's be
And that's
honest,
on
that was probably
side.
because when somebody
ETH
wrote
is
it
cool.
down as ETH, it looked like ITH, or the other way around. Somebody wrote an I that looked like an E, I bet, because that's how these crazy things happen.
Well, yeah,
Or-
or it could have been that they just changed it when they ended up on Ellis Island. I mean, there's a lot of things that could have
Yep.
changed it.
Yeah, Zani has people in her lineage, my wife, that are Gallaghers, but in Ireland it was Gallagher, not Gallagher. But when they
Really?
got here, it changed. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, so that's mine doesn't have. I mean that was about my extent of it, and I'm the milkman's kid because also in that the Griffiths were the blue-eyed people. So as funny as it is, my name was actually picked out before I was born, and the Griffiths fell over into the blue eyes, is what I've been told.
The blue
Were they?
eyes, the blonde hair.
Yeah, okay, the
Yes.
blonde hair. Okay, that's I was just about to ask that because Griffey's the only one in the family that actually has blonde hair.
And blue eyes.
Milkman's
Hey,
kid.
he's the
Milkman's kid.
master race.
Stop it. No.
Minus the fact that I'm Mormon, so I wouldn't have been the master race.
True story.
Hey, as long as you weren't a Jew, you're fine.
No,
I have no
Mormons-
problems with Jews.
Mormons
All right,
were
Bear
on
Animal.
that too.
I had no
So-
idea. Are you serious?
What?
That Mormons were in concentration camps.
That he was on the list. Yeah, they did. Hitler did not like them.
Dang Mormons and
Yep.
Hitlers.
Okay.
There,
Baron.
go ahead.
Okay, so as much of the story as I've gotten from Dad on this is he was driving through like SoCal. He was in some part of California, and he looked over and he saw this building, and it was spelled BEHAUN or something. Somehow it came across as Baron to him. It was the most funky spelling. He was like,
probably
"Oh, that's a really cool name."
BEHRUN. I believe there's a company with Baron spelled that way.
Yeah, and so I think he talked to Mom about it, and Mom found the other type of spelling for it, so the lowest class of king or a robber baron, and she liked that spelling more. Dad didn't like it because he never wanted any of his kids to have like a nobility name, but for a reason he just felt like that one was the right one. So that my name,
Red Aaron.
yep, how it worked out.
Baron loves red.
I love
He has a red beard. It all goes together.
Yeah,
So,
I like
so
my name.
isn't it interesting that Griffey's name ended up matching his physical demeanor, and Baron's name did as well? And
well,
then there's
and power. Can
and
you think of
power.
a better name for power?
not at all. Nope.
nope.
But I was going to say,
So
and
do
then
you-
there's Case Isaiah, and he's about the size of a Case tractor, so that kind of works.
You call me fat?
Yes. Yes.
No.
He is.
Wow.
Patty McFat Pants.
You are a big boned, just like your big brother.
Big.
And I'm just
Brothers.
great.
Brothers.
And Dane, you are just great. I like that. Great, Dane. You know what? I'll take that compliment. Thanks, Jason.
You're welcome. And I'm going to argue that Dane's name came from, are you ready for the really bad dad joke? Here it comes. Great day in the morning. That's what Dad said when he saw him. Great day in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
Great Dane in the morning.
Terrible.
A great
Did you
day
say
of
Great
mourning.
day.
Great
in the
day of
morning.
morning.
No,
Oh.
great day in the morning.
Day in the morning.
See, Skyla knows what I'm talking about because she's in the South.
Uh-huh.
Great day in the morning.
That just went way all over our
I don't know
heads.
if that even. I don't know if that even deserves a courtesy laugh.
No, it doesn't.
That's
Might
That was-
deserve
that
a
was-
courtesy
Don't
flush.
care.
That
I
was
think
terrible.
the courtesy flush, but not the laugh.
We need it. We need
Case.
sound effects, Lonnon. Work on that, okay?
Case, save us.
All right, so I guess I am up next. I think I might have the longest story behind my name.
Sorry.
Do you think Sary's is longer?
Go for it.
No.
But Ceres was pretty long.
So I think that the reason mine's so long is because I actually watched Dad told his dad a video that he ended up recording, and I actually got to see this video and figure out where my name actually came from last year, and it totally affected my life completely. And so Dad traveled a lot for work for everything he did. So he was always the kind of guy that would just stop on the side of the road and pick up people or help somebody or something like that. So he ended up picking a hitchhiker up, and they got to talking, and they were driving somewhere through California, I believe. I ended up getting his name. His name was Isaac. And so they get talking about some spiritual things, about God and other things in this conversation. and they get to a truck stop. And so Isaac gets out of the truck. Dad does his thing. Dad, I'm trying to remember this correctly, but I think Dad gets back on the road, remembers that he needs to go tell Isaac something. So he turns back around, and there's no one in this truck stop, even when they pulled in. And by the short time that Dad had turned around, there was no cars or anything that came by, and Isaac had disappeared, like 100%, just gone. So Dad thinks that he picked up an angel that day.
3 Nephites.
One of the 3 Nephites, yep. And so that was where the Isaiah came from. Dad had a dream as well later before when Mom was pregnant with me. And the dream was that my name was supposed to be Isaiah. And Mom refused to call her little baby Isaiah, from my understanding. And so they compromised.
She hated that name for a little bit.
She did. And I mean, I'm very thankful that my name's Isaiah, but I'm also thankful that it's not my only name, because I'm not an Isaiah. I'm a Case Isaiah. I mean, that just my whole entire demeanor is Case. Everyone that knows me, my name is Case, but Case Isaiah is just, that's who I am. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. It's just it's me. It's very fitting to who I am, because I just love the way that. So I have 2 first names, Case Isaiah, and then the same middle names as all the brothers is Kusei, and then Jensen, obviously. So that was a spiritual thing for me, is then just to know that my name came from such a. Obviously, I'm supposed to be named Isaiah for some reason.
So what was the video you said you saw that changed your life?
So Dad has the video of him telling this story to his dad.
Okay.
Oh,
I didn't
gotcha.
know that.
Yeah, and he found it just recently, and he sat me down and we watched it. It really, really affected me.
How old was Grandpa Jensen?
I think it was
He
right
died in
before he
92.
died.
No, he died in 96.
No, he died in 93, just a couple days after Serie was born.
Oh, oh yeah. So if he was 93, I think it was right after I was born is when he was able to tell his dad this. So he was old, and he could tell he's really old, but that was just the fact that they recorded that moment of Dad being able to pass that message on to his dad, and then be able to pass it on through me through technology is phenomenal. So yeah, you know me, just getting super emotional here on the podcast, like normal. It's who I am.
That's how Case is.
Join the club.
All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for our names. So I guess we get to move on to kids' names now. So I'll start just because I have that right. So our 3 children are named Owen McKay Clark, Xander Fielding Clark, and Laurelyn Rose Clark. And so the first 2 names had a structure to them that my wife figured out because she's amazing. And they followed the pattern of first name from a TV show that she liked, middle name from an LDS prophet or a name that was famous in the LDS church, and then, of course, last name Clark. So Owen came from Party of 5. Owen was a character on Party of 5. And I think Skyla's probably the only one who would get Party of 5.
Oh, come on.
I honestly have no idea what you were talking about.
Yeah, shut up, you little baby.
At all.
The only thing I know of Party of
Shalabert,
5
is that her name?
is the chick.
And Scott Wolf.
Jennifer Love Hewitt was on there, wasn't it?
Yep,
Lacey
Jennifer Love
Chabert.
Hewitt was on it. Lacey Chabert. Yeah.
Guy from Lost.
The guy from Lost. Matthew Fox. Yeah, you know what? I hadn't really put it together.
He was the
Matthew
big brother,
Fox,
right?
Yeah, he was the oldest one who was kind of raising him. Matthew Fox and Scott Wolf. Anyway, so that's where Owen came from, and then McKay.
Animal names?
Yeah. McKay came from David O. McKay. His O,
I like
by the
that one.
was actually Oman. So it was David Oman, O-M-A-N, McKay. So it was close.
That's cool. I didn't realize that's his middle name.
Yep. We did a little research because I thought it was Owen. So I'm like, that's why we're naming him Owen McKay, because it's after David Owen McKay, but it's not Owen, it's Oman. So, oh man.
I just can imagine his parents. David, oh man, McKay. Like,
I love it. That's totally what it should be. Absolutely.
That was hilarious. I never even thought about that. That's
David,
great.
oh man. David, oh man, I was hoping he was a girl, McKay. All right.
oh,
Jason with the dad jokes tonight.
Yes.
Just on top of it. On
Hey.
top of it.
I've got more experience than all the rest of you. Xander. Xander Fielding came from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Was Xander also on? He wasn't on Angel, was he?
Occasionally.
Got me.
Okay. Anyway.
Way over my head on that, by the way.
Yeah, sorry about that. So anyway, Xander came from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Fielding came from all of the Fieldings. Joseph Fielding Smith, Sarah Fieldings, all the Fields.
All the Fieldings.
All the Fieldings. Fielding all the things. So that's where Xander Fielding came from. And then Laura Lynn, had she been a boy, we actually had the name picked out for her. And she hates it. But the name was going to be Daxton Spencer. Daxton came from the volleyball player who was in the 2004 Olympics. And so that's where Daxton was going to come from. And then Spencer for Spencer W. Kimball. She hated that name. So Zani broke the mold with her and named her Laura Lynn after one of her good friends growing up, who Laura Lynn Copus was her name. She's amazing person. It's now
Could
Laura
still be
Lynn
some Gilmore Girls.
Lifford. Laura Lynn Lifford is her name now. And her husband, John, is amazing, and they're just a great family. We love them. And then Rose was a tribute to my mother. Her name is Connie Rose Clark, and so Rose was a tribute to my mama, and that's where Laura Lynn's name came from.
That is really cool. I didn't realize that that's where Rose came from.
Yep, that's where Rose came
awesome.
from. And we were not about to use my dad's name for any of the boys, because his name, forgive me, Dad in heaven, his given name was Claude Edward Clark. Where in heaven's name my grandparents got the French name Claude for this guy born in Virginia, I will never know. But anyway, that's what his name was.
Well, that could be a cool name now, because it's not very common.
Although now that I've gotten into hockey or I've followed hockey, Claude is a very, very famous Canadian hockey player, huh? Zani wants to talk about her name, so I'm going to hand the mic over to Zani. Please, I'm going to mute so when I give it to her, she can not make noise. Hold on.
That's a picture of one of the Griffiths.
Do I just start talking? Okay, so Exandria is actually my name, which is Xandria. And the reason my name is Exandria is when my mom was expecting me, she was reading a book about two princesses, and one was named Victoria, and the other was Exandria. And so my sister's name is Victoria, so she already had her, and so she thought that was perfect because we're her princesses. And then my middle name is Coy, which is Coy, and that is after my great aunt, who was my mom's favorite aunt. And then Zani, I go by that. When I was 2 years old, we had a family friend, and I called her my Mama Beth. And she decided Zani was a good nickname for Exandria, and it kind of stuck. So
I love both your names.
I agree. I love Zani because it's so different, but Exandria is just like out of the world, but it's so cool.
So cool.
It's very, very exotic.
Yes, it's wonderful. Well, thanks, Zani, for getting on. That was Jason's wife, which is awesome that she was able to join with us.
All right, Skyla, I think it's time for you to tell us about Liv and Auburn.
All right, so I have daughters. I have Olivia, and it's spelled with an A, and Auburn. And so we wanted to combine our two families' traditions. My family tradition, obviously weird names. Mike's family tradition is that they all start with the same letter. And all of Mike's names start with the same letter. His initials are MMM. And so, in fact, his dad's initials are 3 M's, his brother 3 M's, his sister 3 M's, and Mike is 3 M's. He didn't want that for our kids, so we didn't do that. So we chose A's. And so Livy, Mike wanted it to Livia.
At the back of the throat. The back of the throat.
Ooh.
That's a surprising alarm.
Oh,
now is the time on the podcast when we lose our minds.
You don't write.
For those of you wondering, this is all straight from Monty Python.
You
and the
just
Holy Grail.
say it.
Anyway, so she would tell people it's Olivia, not Olivia. Like, I mean, it was straight up Hermione.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Exactly. It's Olivia, not Olivia. And I wanted it to be weird. Mike wanted it to be not quite so weird. So it is Olivia. And then her middle name is Kanike. We lived in Hawaii a lot when Mike was in the Navy. And so Kanike is mom's name in Hawaiian because they don't have D's and they don't have S's, but everything else is the same. So Livy's middle name is Kanike. And then Auburn, mom came up with that. I was like, Mom, I need some A names. And so she was like, what about Auburn? And I really like it. And we were trying to figure out what we wanted to do for Auburn's middle name. And since we named Livy's middle name after after our mom, Mike wanted Auburn's middle name to be after his mom. But neither of us loved the name Patricia. And Mike kind of wanted to name Auburn's middle name after his grandfather. His grandfather's first name was Gene, and his last name was Scott. So those were my choices. It was either going to be Auburn Gene, and he wouldn't even let me spell it like the girl way. It was going to be the guy way. So it was going to be Auburn Gene or Auburn Scott. And I jokingly one night said, well, if, she's born on Christmas, then her middle name can be Noel. Her middle name is Noel.
Lo and behold.
Nailed it.
Ooh!
All right, Lonnon.
No, Dane. Oh, Dane already did his, I guess.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Dane kind of already did it. Well, Dane, if you want to provide more details.
Nope, don't really have any. She's amazing.
Okay. All right.
Oh, okay. Yes, yes, I will. I will throw it in there. Her middle name is Faith, and we let her birth mom choose her middle name. So, and we thought it went well together anyway. Ainsley Faith Jensen.
I never knew that. What made you guys do that? I'm just curious.
Just asked her if she wanted to. She said yes.
Wow, I think that's just awesome that you were willing to do that.
Yeah, Cherie was, Cherie went to like every single doctor's appointment with Alex. That's Ainsley's birth mom. And then Ainsley still knows her birth mom. So like we went up there for her college graduation. We were going to go up for her wedding, but then COVID happened. And so we didn't get to, but we still see her when we go up there.
That's awesome that you guys have that relationship still. So awesome.
Okay, so it's
Yes,
me.
sir.
I probably have the longest amount of them. So I'll
How
start
long
with
is this
You're gonna have to
podcast
move
already?
fast.
right. We're already 31 minutes into it. So my oldest is Braylin. We spelled it a little differently. It's Brae capital Lynne. And then middle name Charity. But all of my girls all my boys are kind of like Jensen, so they all have the middle name Tatton. All my girls have like Faith, Hope, Charity, different things like that. Patience, except for Raya, she's different. Anyway,
I love Tesla patience because it sounds like test the patience.
or test your patience. But so
Not that she
Braylon-
would ever do that.
No, never.
She absolutely does.
So Braylon, we got from a book. We were just looking through baby names and we found it. And I was looking for something that was, not common. And so we found that one. And
And now that name is like super common because of Raylan, the country singer.
Oh, not just that. There's three, there was no Braylins in our ward, but there was a Braylon and a Bray something else. Like there were none exactly like hers, but close enough. And then you've got Arroya. And so her name came from us trying to change Arroyo to a little more feminine. And then her middle name is Rain. And so
Which is hilarious.
because we totally cursed her. She's now allergic to water.
For real.
For
Allergic
real.
to water.
Yeah, it's called aquagetic urticaria or something like that. Google it. And then you have Kaylani. So Kaylani we did because Aunt Leilani is my favorite aunt, or definitely was when we were when we were looking to name Kaylani. And so that and the whole Hawaiian thing that Grandma Jensen loved and always tried, incorporating. So that's how Kaylani got her name. Is that I didn't want like a copy, but I wanted something close. So that's how she's Kaylani, which is funny because they have Kaylanis in Hawaii, but none of them spelled that way. Like we totally butchered it.
Wait, how do you mean it's not spelled that way?
Keilani. We found multiple keychains of Kaylani. None of them spelled that way.
That's
It's
how you spell it in
Kelani.
Hawaiian.
No, they were
Kelani.
or it was K. Let's see, was it KEH? I think it was KEHLANI.
Weird.
That's how we saw almost all of them. So yeah, I was like, because I was like, oh yeah, when we go to Hawaii, I'll pick you up a. I can't find anything here in the States, but I'll get you something down there. They've got to have it down there. Nope, nowhere. Everybody's like, oh, that's a weird spelling. Oh, okay. But her middle name is Esperanza, which is hope in Spanish. And we actually got that from our next door neighbor, who Dane knows, Esperanza, which we just called Hope. But we were looking for something that kind of went along with that, because Keilani Hope doesn't sound as good as Keilani Esperanza does. So that's how Keilani got hers.
Well, and I have to set the scene for Keilani because she is bright blonde hair, bright blue eyes, and her name is Keilani Esperanza.
Right. She's a absolute whitey, and she's a Hawaiian Spanish name. It's hilarious.
She's a Howie.
She is, absolutely. Next one, you've got Tesla, and it was actually funny where we got Tesla from. I've always dealt with high voltage with it because of Dad and that type of stuff, obviously. But Power was looking for a name for a kid, and I was like, name it Tesla, name the kid Tesla. He's like, I'm not naming a kid Tesla. And I was like, it would be so cool with your name. No, he didn't like it. I was like, well, fine, then I'll name one of my kids Tesla.
Her name fits her very well.
It does.
I feel like.
It really does.
Yeah, what's funny is that now everybody's like, Tesla, do you have a Tesla? And she's like, I do now. My parents got me one for Christmas. She doesn't tell them it's, Matchbox. But
hey, it's still a Tesla.
Still a Tesla. Yep. But it's funny because she actually texted Elon Musk and said, hey, I'm going to take over your company and take my name back.
Please tell me he responded.
He didn't respond. It was funny though. Which is funny because he responds to lots of things, but not that I know of that he ever respond to it. Like she, signed him and everything. Anyway,
she do it on Twitter. You got to do it on Twitter.
Yeah, it was on Twitter. Anyway, so then her middle name is Patience because every time I would pray for my wife to have patience, she ended up pregnant. And my wife was like, if I'm pregnant, then I'm naming this kid Patience. And she was pregnant, so the kid is now having the middle name Patience. Zyzix, he is on the road on the way to California, ZZYZX. And that came from, because I used to do a lot of work down in LA. I was probably down there once a week, for a while. And so I was always passing it back and forth. And one day I told my wife, my first boy's name is going to be Zyzix. And so everybody jokes that, well, it took my wife 4 girls to get used to the name Zyzix. But, it fits the kid. He loves it. And so his middle name is Tatton. And he loves his name. On a completely different note, all of my kids love their names. And I love that they do because I personally, no offense to Mike, I just don't want to be another Mike or another John.
Or Jason.
Or Jason.
Oh,
yeah,
that's what I was going to say. How many Jasons are there? My last company, there were 4 Jasons. Out of, 75, 80 people? 4 Jasons.
I've never met another Griffith. I've never even talked to another Griffith. I've talked to another Baron before.
Okay, so my last kid, real quick, is Motega. And Motega is
almost
Hopi.
Last kid, but go on.
Yeah, almost last. Oh, yeah, almost last kid.
Already forgot.
But so Motega is Hopi Indian for New Arrow. That's what it stands for. But there was a couple different names I actually liked better. One of them was Intius, Intius, and it was another Native American
Sounds like a software
name,
program.
That meant unashamed. And my wife's like, he's a Jensen. He doesn't need a name saying that he's going to be unashamed. I think actually it was Intius was proud and unashamed. That's what it was. She's like, he's already going to be a Jensen. He doesn't need the name saying it. So she didn't like that one. She's like, she was looking for multiple other names, anything other than Motega or Intius or anything like that. So she looks down and she sees Diesel Power magazine and she's like, how about Diesel? And I was like, I don't know. I'm down for that. And so when he was born, I look at the kid and I'm like, this kid is not an Intius. This kid is not a Diesel. This kid is a Motega, without a doubt. And she called him a baby boy for the first 2 weeks of his life because she did not like his name that much. And then you've got Katya, my newest, that I almost forgot about again. And her name, me and Nish were watching, not again, but me and Nish were watching a show or something. I don't remember where the name came up, but I think it was watching a show and the name Katya came up, and I just liked the sound of it, but I didn't like the way it was spelled. Like, for me, I mean, if it's going to be somewhat simple-ish, well, not simple-ish, but common-ish. I mean, it's not common here, it's common in Russia, but I wanted to change it completely. And so we were going back and forth with tons and tons of spellings. And one of those spellings was just the regular version. But then we actually had somebody in our ward. She's like, I was going to name my last daughter Katya, but then they miscarried or something like that. And she's like, this is how I was going to spell it. And so it's exactly how we spelled Katya, which is Kautiyah. So it's phonetically spelled. And then the other thing, so her middle name, we were looking for something else because Katya in Russian means pure. And so we were looking for Faith, but we didn't want just Faith. We wanted it to be in another language as well. And so we went through a ton of different names or languages, and none of them stuck to me until I heard Emuna, which is Hebrew for faith. And it kind of stuck to me here and there. And then Griffith broke his Mercedes. We were going to go on a Sunday drive, and he broke his Mercedes at the top of this hill. And while we were waiting for Baron to come tow us back, I'm sitting on this ledge looking down this hill, and this Jewish family comes up, and they're from New York, and I got to talking to him for a while. The guy was really cool, but I asked him how you said Emuna, faith in Hebrew, and he said it because my wife didn't like it because she thought it said Emuna, and so she was like, oh, people are going to give her such a bad time because it's an emu, and it's like, no, it's not emu. And so anyway, so after hearing it from this Jewish guy, that it's Emuna, and that's what it means, faith. Her name is Pure Faith, which is totally what she was, and that's my kids' names.
That is beautiful, Lonnon. I didn't realize that's what Katya meant, was pure, and how it all works together. That's way cool.
Yeah,
that is way cool. I will point out, you decided to change the spelling of the name after we had ordered your ornament last year.
Yes. Yeah. Well, see, what the problem was is like we knew we wanted to name her. We just didn't know how we wanted to spell it. Braylon, I don't think we nailed down until like a week or two before she was born. So it's much the same way with her.
So every Christmas we'll have the opportunity to tell her that we didn't know and we love her and we just didn't know.
She'll be fine. You know what? She's a trooper. She'll deal with it. And if she doesn't, well, then she'll figure it out eventually. All right. And Jason, next.
Next would be Griff.
My kids are all named normal names.
Okay.
Oh, shut up and get out.
Okay. So Aurora is my oldest. Aurora was actually me and my wife when we were dating. Both were trying to figure out saying names that we would name our kids. And Aurora, both of us were like, I want to name our first girl Aurora. So that's how Aurora came in. Aurora's middle name, on the other hand...
And you jacked everybody up for Aurora.
Totally.
Yeah, yep, that's why Aurora is ZB to me forever and for always.
Oh, Rory's fine. So that's where Aurora came from. Well, we were in the hospital, though. We were not going to give her a middle name at all. Annika's like, I don't have a middle name. It doesn't really affect me very much. And Mom was like, you have to have a middle name. It's like, you have to have it for her. It's such a pain not to have a middle name or a girl. And
Mom didn't have one.
I love that Mom's middle name is her maiden name. I think that's totally cool.
Yeah, but it sucks until you get married.
Yeah, and so...
You're not married for a lot longer than you are married. Or you are married for a lot longer than you're not, I mean.
My wife is the same way. She didn't have a middle name, so she did the same thing Mom did.
I can't remember how we came up with Christiana.
Very carefully.
I've always liked her middle name a lot, just so I throw that out there.
Me too.
My wife had to tell me the story. I don't remember. I don't know. I was still in shock of it, so... Jericho, and this is where it gets all boring from here. I'm going to be honest. Jericho was because we were watching the show Jericho.
And
That's
it's
where
phenomenal.
Jericho's name came from.
Great
And so
show.
that's why I named Jericho Jericho, is because I was like, I love that name, and both me and my wife really liked it.
I thought Griffith was going to name Jericho random. I really thought
Yeah,
he was
So
going to
we
name him
all
random.
did.
Like,
'Cause Griffith
like
joked
when
for
he
years.
joked about it for years that he's going to name his kid, his first boy is going to be random.
A
And I was
random
like,
Jensen.
dude, that'll be perfect. It'll fit in with our family. And then he names him Jericho, and I'm like, what? What happened to random?
It just, he's not. You know what? You know what really made it so I didn't name my kid random? I was watching
CSI?
SVU,
SU,
Law and Order
and
SVU.
they had a character that was named Random, and they're like, who the crap would name their kid Random? No wonder this kid is so screwed up in life. And
Well,
I
you
was
say the
like,
same thing about Zyzix. I mean, like, it's
yeah.
like one of the, if you can Google it right now, one of the top 5 worst names to name a kid, Zyzix is on there.
I don't know if I would think that, but
I don't agree, but
I really liked Jericho. Like, I
I
really
think
liked
vagina would be
that.
better.
Huh? What?
I think vagina would be a worse name. Some lady in Nampa named her kid Vagina. She was Hispanic and thought it sounded pretty.
it's like
Oh.
Sausage. Skyla was telling me about.
Yep.
She
Sausage.
didn't speak English, so she named her kid Vagina. Sausage?
Vagina.
Yeah, there's a when I was doing school pictures in Hawaii, I was at a middle school, and you know how everybody got those name cards, and so I had to hand them out to the kid. And I looked at it, and she says, "Yes, it says sausage." And I just kind of looked at her like, "Oh my gosh!" And she's like, "My parents are Portuguese. They don't speak English. They just thought it was a really pretty word." And I'm like, "Please tell me you have a nickname." She goes, "Yeah, I go by Sage." I'm like, "You are a wise girl."
Sausage. Yep.
Okay, Griff, continue on.
So Jericho, and then his Zayden is his middle name. I don't remember where that came up. I think it was just one of the ones that just a name that my wife found. Aurelia was another show. It's kind of, yeah, we saw it on a French film is how we got Aurelia. Aurelia was one me and
French
my wife would
film?
watch. Yeah, it was a French-based film, so it was subbed over, and it was Aurelia was her name, and we really liked Aurelia.
Wait, you didn't get that from Mom?
No, Aurelia.
That's
But
funny.
yeah, the name
Surprising.
actually came from a film. But yes, it also was a family name we found out too down the road. We have our great grandma or something like that is named Aurelia. So it just happened to be that, but that was not the reason why we named her Aurelia. And then Lennox was yet again I can't think of the name.
Air conditioner.
No, Melissa Joan Hart and Melissa and Joey. One of the actors on there was Lennox, and I loved Lennox. Like, I love that name. Trust me, my mother-in-law hated Lennox. Still probably doesn't love it.
No wonder you named her that then.
No, it's not why. My wife really liked Lennox too. I don't think we would have named her anything else.
I love that name too, Griffey. It's phenomenal.
Is that her in the background telling you how she feels about her name?
Yep.
That's her telling me that she wants on the bed and I won't let her up.
All right, Baron, hit it real quick.
So my kids' names are super boring. My wife found the names really just looking through Google, and because we needed a unique name. And
Needed. Did you guys hear that? Needed a unique name.
yeah, I wasn't gonna have a normal name like Jason or something. So
Gosh, who would name
my
their kid Jason?
gosh.
So we were just looking through names, and Brianna would bounce a name off of me, and but for the most part, my wife named the kids. But I really liked the name Tinley, and my wife's all like, "Well, you have to come up with the middle name." I still never found the middle name. Brianna found the middle name, so it's Tinley Redding Jensen, and Redding has no real significance, and other than it just kind of
Redding,
tended to flow
California.
well. Yeah, and the worst part is Redding wasn't even in my mission. I mean, Redding was the mission next to mine. So there's really no significance to it. Next was Axton, and Axton was a very similar situation. Like, we were just looking for names, and we originally thought we were going to name him Brexton, and which is funny because of Sarah naming her kid Brexton. So we were debating back and forth with that name. But then we eventually decided on Axton, and then to come to find out that Sarah named her kid Brexton was just really funny. But then Axton's middle name is Ruger, and yet again, my wife just kind of wanted to go with some type of theme, and I hate my wife's her maiden name, so I was not going to have my kid's middle name be Merrill.
Merle.
Merrill. I hate that name. There was this elder on my mission, Elder Merrill, and he was like, I mean, that's the best way to explain it. He was just a creeper. And so that's all I think of every time I think of her last name, her maiden name. So yeah, that's my kids' stories. They had to be unique. There's no real backstory behind them.
All right.
All right, last one. Case.
All right, so my oldest is Reason Ray Jensen. So Reason is spelled Rezin. That's actually from the Book of Mormon. It is the king of
The
Syria.
book, not the musical.
Correct, the book. It is actually also in the Isaiah chapters of the Bible.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right. So he's the king of Syria, and that's the reason why his middle name is Ray, because Ray in Spanish is king. So he's King Reason. And so that's Reason's name. Declan actually just loved that name. I guess that every time she thinks of Declan, it's her little skater boy kid. And she's always pictured that name. And Dane
He looks like a little skater boy.
He does. Like his name fits him so well.
He looks like Bob's big boy.
Oh my goodness!
Thanks, Dane.
Wow.
Thanks. Now that's going to be
hilarious.
He does.
Well, now we have his nickname. He's going to be Bob to Dane for the rest of his life. He will be Bob.
No,
Bob and
actually,
Chunk, huh?
said I couldn't do it.
Bob and Chunk. No, I think you can just keep calling him Big D, which
Let's go
I will never be able to be on board with, I think.
No, I can't do because that's something else.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Which is why Case will never be on board with it.
Chunk love Dane.
And then this is probably going to be the
Big D hate Dane.
Big D hate Dane. No, but I think his middle name's going to get me a whole bunch of slack right now. So we were watching Twilight. Yes, the movie Twilight, and one of the vampires' names was Alistair, and I fell in love with that name. So yeah.
Oh no, I totally
Love
think
that
that name is
name.
cool.
I love the name. It's funny where I found that name. So my wife's a
Case?
big fan of the Twilight.
Case, you totally need to change the story up. Even if it's not true, you need to change the story up and say...
It's
you
from
name-
the Rally Driver. I know.
Twilight?
Exactly,
good.
from Colin McKay's brother, Alistair.
It's spelled differently, I think.
Shut up. It was from Colin McRae's brother, Alistair.
Okay, Jason, you can think that for me. Whenever somebody asks, like, where do you get his middle name from? Oh, it's from the famous rally car driver and his brother, I guess.
It was his brother. It was Colin's brother.
I
And
guess that's
Alistair
my thing.
was an accomplished rally driver on his own. He just
I agree.
wasn't quite as good as Colin, but then most people will never be as good as Colin was.
No, definitely
I would never name my kid off of somebody that was still living.
not. Well, I guess he is living. Why not, actually?
I
Isn't
just
Alistair one of Dumbledore's names?
No, I don't
He
think
has
so.
like 13 of them. Actually,
I'm looking it up. Hold on.
legit, it may be, it's possible it's one of Kiefer Sutherland's middle names because he has...
Albius,
7
Percival,
names?
Wulfric, Brian, Dumbledore. Or
Look
just,
up-
not Albius, Albus.
Wait,
Look up
was
Kiefer Sutherland.
Alistair his brother?
Oh,
Yes, Alistair was his brother.
no. I thought, are you sure? I thought it was Alistair Moody.
You're correct, sir.
Oh, you're right.
Mad-Eye Moody.
Okay, so before we end, we're about out of time, but I want Dane to share something from his end. And that is, I want him to talk about his nicknames for, like, virtually everybody in the family. So, Dane, take it away.
Ugh, do we have to?
Yes, because
Heck
Dane gives
yes.
everyone his nicknames that last forever. So, Dane, hit it.
Forever.
So I don't really call Skyla by her nickname because it's not very nice. But I'll use it every once in a while, and that would be Skylard. And Skyla was very pretty growing up. Like, Dad had a picture of her on his desk, and all of his coworkers like, you're supposed to take the picture of the girl out when you buy the frame, right? He's like, that's my daughter. And so
The problem
Skyla
is
was
Skyla didn't know it.
Skyla was gorgeous when she was young, and then she had 17, and
not
boom,
anymore.
happy birthday!
Ouch.
Then she
Dude,
got
she
big old
still is.
knockers, and everybody loved her. So anyway,
Yeah,
So
so
that was
true. It's
Skylar.
like over a freaking summer.
happy
I
birthday!
went from negative A to a C in one summer.
Yeah, it was happy birthday. Boom, there they are.
We
Too bad
used to
this
tell
isn't a
her-
video podcast because we could totally see the color red, I bet, right now.
We used to tell her that that she was jealous of the walls because they had more
Yeah,
bigger boobs than she did. So
That's so mean. So mean.
Okay,
They were
next one.
really mean.
So yeah, we got to hurry through this. Lonnon, just call him Lonnon. I don't know why. Lonnon, why do I call you that?
Because
Just
it's
'cause it's
pretty
kind of
obvious. That, I'm like,
phonetic.
Lonnon, yes.
So, and then I call Poodle Power. I call him Poodle. Once again, I don't know why. It just kind of stuck. And then Bubs. I think Uncle Chris came up with Bubs.
Uncle Chris came up with Bubs.
And I've just never stopped calling her Bubs. Everybody else has, but I don't call her. What do you guys call her? Tatiana? Tacho? I just call her Bubs.
Tashi.
She's Bubs.
Gosh.
She's Bubs. So, like I'd talk about Bubs, and Ainsley had no idea who I was talking about for a while. So then there's Fuff, and I think Uncle Chris came up with Fuff as well.
Yeah,
No, I
it
think
really
he called him
confuses me.
Fluffy because of his hair.
Oh, he called him
and it just
Fluffy.
morphed.
Yep. And then I just started calling him Fuff.
Yeah.
Yep, that's what it was, Skyla.
I don't know if you started calling him Fluff or Baron started. It was like we were calling him Fluff, and Baron started calling him Fuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember, but Fuff is Fuff. Once again, I don't call anybody by their real names pretty much, except Skyla, just because hers is kind of mean. And then there is Aminal, and that came from Bear Animal. And I don't know, was that an Uncle
Mom.
Chris one again?
It's a
That
proper
was
one.
Mom. That was Mom.
Bear Animal?
Yeah.
So,
that
I
was
mean,
Mom.
and I
Baron is
just,
as hairy as an animal, so.
but I call him Aminal.
Yeah.
Aminal.
Well,
So do I. Aminal.
Mom used to call him Barely Bear too.
Oh,
Called me
yep,
what?
she did.
She called me what?
Barely Bear.
Barely. Yep. And then Case of Isaiah. And I don't know. It just rolls off the tongue nicely. And then there is Towhead. And I called Sarie Towhead because she could not say cow. She always said Tow. And so
Oh
Towhead
my gosh,
just
I forgot
stuck.
that.
Yeah,
Yep,
that one I
so it's
still
Towhead.
catch myself not saying Siri and saying Towhead.
I never call her Sarie. It's always Sari. Always will be. But Baron's Baroni, my opinion.
Yeah, which I used to call Baron Baroni. I'd sing Baroni, the San Francisco treat.
That's so dumb.
You
How
guys
many,
are so dumb.
so how
It's
many
just so dumb.
of the how many of my kids do all my kids have nicknames from you? I know Braylon does.
Bud Earl, Roya, Kalani Pants, Tesla Coil, Zai, Tomega, and Cat.
Cat, huh?
It's
Cat.
what it's going to be because I hate the name Katya
I know
because
you do.
a lady from my mission, like nothing to do with the actual name or that it's a bad name. It's just it's somebody I knew and that was it. And I really didn't like her.
Same
Yeah,
thing with Bear.
my mom or my wife wanted to name one of our kids Zoe, and I was like, no, that's not happening.
Yeah, Zoe's a dog name. Like
That's exactly what I said.
I used to make fun of Sasha because I was like, Sasha's a dog name. I know more dogs named Sasha than I know people.
Well, just to throw in the mix, my grandmother-in-law's dog was named Ainsley. Just throw that out there.
That's all right.
Anybody's
My dog's
dog
named
named
Livy,
Jason?
and that's just like Livy.
No, because no one would want their name dog Jason. Then they would have it like dog like everyone else.
Dude, my wife would love to name our dog Jason just for the fact that it's so normal. She loves the idea of naming any dog just
Bob.
like put Paul, Frank, just
Henry.
super random name.
Would
Mike.
somebody get a Bob in here?
I was at the dog park yesterday, and legit, there was a pug there that looked just like the dog from Men in Black. And thankfully, the owners were smart enough to call him Frank.
I love it. I
was
love it.
Because
Awesome.
and the reason I found it out is I'm calling him Frank just jokingly because he looks just like Frank. And the guy goes, "How did you know that was his name?" And I'm like, "Well, Men in Black. It was just a joke." He goes, "No, that's actually his name." Yeah, nailed that one.
That's funny.
That
All right,
is
Dane,
funny.
do you have anybody else that you have nicknames for, or is it just my kids? You got
No.
Chunk.
Tasha's.
Chunk, which is reason.
Junk. I got Cruiser. I got Huntington. I was trying to go with Heinz because nobody likes Hunts, so it's got to be Heinz. But the third wins on that one.
Yeah, that one's
Um,
mine.
And then Madden is Steve, which is way better than John. So
I
Steve
agree.
Madden, John Madden.
How is he better than John
Um,
Madden?
Because
Just-
John
it flows
Madden's
better for a
just
girl.
loud and annoying.
Well, and also
Steve Madden's in
think about
fashion.
Tasha and her shoes.
And
Yeah.
you called
Yes.
yourself a Las Vegan. Is that the right word for it? Las
Heck
Vegan?
no, I don't. I'm from
Oh.
Idaho.
All right. But you live in Vegas now, and the Raiders are in Vegas, and John Madden got famous for coaching the Raiders. I'm just saying.
Yay.
It was
Yeah.
a stretch. I
Agreed.
admit, it was a stretch. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I think we're probably way over time, so we need to wrap things up because certain old people, that would be me, need to
And
go to bed.
Skyla.
And me.
And Skyla, because it's almost midnight your time. So we need to wrap it up. We thank you guys for listening. We, as always, invite your comments and suggestions for things we should talk about in the future. Somebody want to talk about the book club?
Yeah, so book club real quick. We are reading Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. You definitely got still time to listen to it, read it, whatever it is. I believe we'll be talking to it. It should come out on the 23rd. That work for everybody?
Do you want to do it on the 23rd? Yeah, I mean, I'll be done with it. I can listen to it again.
Yeah, let's do the 23rd. So we will be doing the podcast will come out on the 23rd for the book club. And then on that podcast, we'll announce our next book for the next month. So if you guys are definitely following along, I know there's a couple of people who have already reached out to me and told me that they are reading it. Mike Rouge, shout out to you. And so also...
If there's anybody that needs a copy of it, I have it on my server, so I can make it available. For audio. Yeah. Audio. Actually, I have audio and I have a PDF version of it.
I have to go to Mom and Dad's to get it.
Yeah. So you can reach out to us, direct message us through Instagram. Our handle is at King Ugly Crew. Also Facebook at King Ugly Crew, or email us. It's kinguglycrew@gmail.com. And Lonnon actually made a website for us. You can actually go out and see all of our pictures. What is it? What is the thing there, Lonnon?
I think it's kinguglycrew.wordpress.com.
Yeah, so you can actually jump on that. You can see all of our pictures of who, basically get to know who is talking. Kind of just put a face with the voices, and I think that really would help.
Agreed. Thank you, Case, for all our social media work. We appreciate it. All right, guys, until next week, thank you. We are the Crazy King Ugly Crew.
Stay ugly.
Stay ugly.
Stay ugly.
No,
I am ugly. I don't have to stay ugly.